Luke Wright is an ex-cop and former government assassin and apparently a magician, as he turned a guy into a vegetable after unintentionally winning a fixed fight. Feeling guilty from the screaming mother of his opponent, Luke storms over to his agent, a Russian gangster, and sends his jaw to the nether realm. Luke is angry that he was set up against a weak fighter but learns that his opponent was a YouTube boxer, and he wasn't supposed to win anyways. Luke learns that Russian mafia boss Emil Dokesky lost all his money after betting for Luke to lose, and will be sending goons after them both, unless he can hand over Luke to take the heat off himself. Luke doesn't wait, but starts running fades right away. Luke is speeding home. He calls his wife but gets no answer. He gets in, but is petrified and falls to his knees as Emil's goons, led by Emil's son Vasily, have slaughtered his pregnant wife in a gruesome scene. They mock him for not putting up much of a fight, but they don't plan to kill him, not yet. They warn Luke that his life will be a living hell, and everyone he talks to from here on out they will kill, and leave warning that if he stays there, they will kill the landlady. We then meet May, a young Chinese math prodigy, who constantly upsets her teachers, causing her to be transferred from her school, despite her pleas to be close to her sick mother. After school one day, she is chatting with her friends about her transfer and they reassure her that they will always be friends, when suddenly a car pulls up and men kidnap her and drive away. She is brought by men to see Triad boss Han Zhao, who reveals that her classmate and teachers told him about her gift with numbers, saying her mind is like a computer. He explains that computers leave trails and he is looking for a new way to get the leg up on his opponents. He messes up an abacus, and threatens to hurt May's mother if she doesn't display her gift, which she does out of fear. Han is pleased with this and tells May that they will be sending her to America to do business for him. May arrives in America where her handler Quan gets her fake documents from a corrupt NYPD captain named Wolf. For the price of the documents, Wolf demands an increase in the cut he receives from the Triad's territories. 1 year later, we see Luke on a train, when a kid recognizes him from his fights, but Luke remembers the warnings from the gang and tries to keep his distance and always keeps moving. May has now become well versed in the runnings of the gangs, going over all the profit increases over the past week. Quan learns that a casino on their turf is losing money and has his guys beat the bejesus out of the owner, forcing May to look, even as he shoots the man dead. Quan warns the staff that if they continue to lose money, more staff will be fired, permanently. Later as the gang eats, May wonders why beat the man if they're going to kill him anyway, but Quan tells her that she simply does not understand business. Luke has moved into a shelter and is preparing to rest up for the night, when this gnome-looking bum comes over admiring his shoes. The guy shows that his feet are badly blistered and begs Luke for his shoe. Luke quietly tells him to take the shoes and shut up, before resting up for the night. That night as May sleeps, a girl comes to her, telling her that her mother has passed away, causing May to break down in tears. She tells May that Han is never going to tell her, and makes her promise not to tell. Luke wakes up in the morning and is shocked to see that the gnome dude was killed in his sleep. The guards think that he was the one who did it and chase him out of the shelter. Han then arrives in the USA with a long list of numbers he needs May to memorize, and with one look, she instantly memorizes them. Pleased with this, Han burns the papers. Luke is walking on the street, when this old head bumps into him and then turns around cursing at Luke. Luke heads into a store only to realize that the old head stole his wallet and breaks out in a hysterical laugh. The people think he's crazy and a cop drags him out of the store. The cop, Detective Mears, recognizes Luke and throws him into the squad car with his partner. Han is having May sent to another location to memorize another number under heavy escort when suddenly, they are attacked by the Russian mafia. May is soon grabbed and taken away in another car. Meanwhile, Detective Mears has called up his fellow colleagues who begin to beat his ass, calling him a rat, as he was once a part of their elite squad of corrupt cops but sold them out. They hand him a gun, wanting him to give them a reason to kill him, but Frank instead walks away, and dares them to shoot him in the back. May is dragged before Russian mafia boss Emil, who demands that she hand over the numbers to him but May refuses. Emil then reveals that the woman who told her about her mother, is actually working for them. She tries to convince May to give up the info, but May calls her foolish for working with the mafia, and just then, Vasily shoots her dead. Suddenly there is a bang on the door as the NYPD has turned up in full force, under orders from Captain Wolf, who is working with Han. Emil then calls him and tries to bargain, and in the confusion May escapes through a window. Captain Wolf realizes that May must be important and decides that he wants her too, and orders his men to wait for his signal to go in and wipe out the gangsters. Sensing danger, Emil reveals to him that the girl has escaped, so Wolf diverts his men to look for her. Meanwhile Luke is at the train station, contemplating ending things when he sees May looking scared and running past him. He then sees one of the men that took his wife's life then realizes that they are hunting for May. He sees them get on the train, So Luke chases after the train and manages to jump onto the last car. Luke manages to board the train, racing to catch up to the men. Before they can catch her, Luke intercepts them and a brawl breaks out. He pulls no punches and brutally beats the goons down. The Russian tries pulling a gun, but Luke disarms him. He thought Luke was just a garbage collector, but Luke doesn't collect garbage, he takes them out. Luke takes some of their stuff before going towards May asking her if she is okay, but May takes off running, not trusting this smelly bum. Two of Luke's former colleagues see May and try to take her away, but Luke turns up and kicks their asses. Luke takes May and jumps into a car, just as the Russians turn up and begin shooting at them. The goons report to Emil about Luke, so he orders them to kill them both if they cannot capture the girl. Luke leads the guys on a high-speed chase through the streets of New York trying to lose the gangsters hot on his trail. Luke then turns into an alley and as the men come after them, he ambushes them and shoots them all dead, before taking May away. One of the cops who had his ass beat then reports to Wolf that Luke Wright is back, which shocks him. Luke uses one of the goons' info to get a change of clothes and book them a nice hotel. Meanwhile, Quan and his men are tracking May and are almost at the hotel. May wonders why Luke saved her, but he reveals that she was the one who saved him and he is paying her back. He asks about her parents and why she is here and she reveals that she is here to count for Han who asked her to memorize a long number. Trusting Luke, she offers to tell him about the number and Luke realizes that the number is actually the combination to a safe. Han pulls up to the hotel, pretending to be May's father and saying she was kidnapped. The clerk offers to call the police but Han holds her at gunpoint demanding Luke's room number. Just then one security guard decides to be a hero, but gets sent to meet Jesus. A shootout breaks out in the lobby and Luke sees the commotion outside and finds May's cell phone realizing they're being tracked. He arms himself and tells May to write down a few of the numbers before they both try to leave the room. Luke kills one man and takes the stairs. Outside, the NYPD begin to pull up, but the gangsters open fire on their cars keeping them out. Luke gets to the dining hall to see it littered with gangsters and decides to go through them. He shoots some of the men before ending up in a brawl, but is totally wiping the floor with these guys. In the commotion, Han grabs May and Luke is forced to dive through a window to avoid gunshots. Han then has everybody in the hotel run outside all at once, and uses the confusion and crowd to make his escape. Some cops spot Luke and chase him, but he manages to grand theft auto a car, then switches over to a cab. He calls Vasily, pretending to be one of his men claiming that he has the number, so Vasily gives him his address. Captain Wolf is then called into a meeting with the mayor Danny Tremolo, who is shocked to hear that Luke Wright is back in town. He learns about the girl and the information she holds and tells Wolf to lock down the city and grab the girl and he will be made commissioner. Quan takes May to Han, who demands to know who the man was who helped her and what information she gave to him, but May swears she said nothing. Quan then reaches out to the person with the second number who turns out to be the mayor's assistant Alex and they plan to meet. Luke gets to the address and notices Vasily's men posted all over the place. He then calmly makes his way to the bar and suddenly kills one man with a fork, shoots a few others before grabbing Vasily and taking him to his car and driving away. Emil then gets a call but it is Luke who is threatening to beat information out of Vasily and give it to the triads which will ruin him. Luke demands to know what is in the safe and learns that it is $30 million, which is meant to be payment for something else. Luke demands that Emil give up the safe's location or he will never see his son again. May is with Quan who is taking her to the meeting spot and has the nerve to say he cares about May like a daughter. Luke is at a club, when his old detective buddies pull up including Wolf under his request. Luke takes his time and eats a sandwich, before asking for a light. He then lights the paper with the combination, telling them that the numbers are in his head as insurance. The cops plan to raid the place under the guise of a drug bust and steal the cash, and begin to gear up and arm themselves. They barge into the club and gangsters begin shooting at them, hitting one of the cops. They make their way to the underground casino where bullets begin to fly left and right forcing everyone to be behind cover. Luke then steps out and begins opening fire on gangsters, when suddenly one cop is shot in the head. They fight their way into a room, and one cop tries shooting the locks and blows his fingers off. While the rest of the crew and Luke are distracted with fighting the guys, Wolf shoots his injured man, then blames a gangster for killing him. Only 3 cops along with Luke are left and they blow their way into the safe and kill the guards. Luke goes for the safe, but is not stupid and tells them all to put down their guns before he gets started. The men hesitantly lower their weapons and Luke begins to work the combination, but suddenly drops and kills 2 cops before shooting Wolf. He tells Wolf to finish the combination and they open it to see it filled with cash. Wolf and Luke then make their way out of the club with bags of cash. Luke ties up Wolf and puts him in the back of his car before calling Danny, telling him that he has the money. Luke demands to talk to the man in charge and gets in contact with Alex, who is very acquainted with Luke, as they were both government assassins. When Luke reveals that he has the cash, Alex reveals that the money is to pay for a disc with names and money trails. Seeing that he has the money, Alex decides to deal with Luke, but Luke wants him to get May from Quan before they close the deal. Alex turns up to meet with Quan and his men. He pretends to be taking down the number, but in a few seconds Alex wipes out the men before grabbing May. Danny is at his office when Luke ambushes him there demanding the disc. After confirming that it is the info, he knocks out the mayor. Alex is waiting with May at an abandoned lot when Luke drives up. Alex holds his gun to May, wondering why Luke would risk the disc and the money for this little girl. Luke tells Alex to fight him for the location of the cash and he somehow agrees. The two face each other ready to brawl, but May shoots Alex in the leg before Luke sends him to see Jesus. May reveals that she saw him fight and Luke wouldn't stand a chance. Luke then unties Captain Wolf and gives him 50 grand out of the cash, telling him to return Vasily to his father as he is done seeking vengeance. The rest is sent to Han with a note from May, telling him that they will pay the rest of the money, but if he comes after them, she knows every detail about his organization and will crush him. With this, Han is furious and books the next flight home. Luke is planning to skip town and tells May that he cannot be her father, but she wants a friend instead, to which he agrees. Remember to turn on notifications, so you can watch more movie recaps like this. Thanks for watching.